Good morning. It's 25th of October, Sunday morning, bright and breezy. Did you enjoy that extra hour in bed? I know I didn't even notice it happening. So here we are again, the Sunday Parade. Gone all about the base today and gone off on a different tangent. So I will give you a progress of the build for the Corvette at some stage, but not today. So a little bit stressed with other bits and pieces. Nothing major, just life. Nothing to worry about. But anyway, how's your Sunday? What have you got planned for today? Anything exciting? I wonder. I was going to do a little tour today of the ops room, if you like, but I'm not prepared, so I'm not going to. I might do later. I don't know. We'll wing it. That's what we normally do on a Sunday. So there's 10 people watching. Let's head over and see who is in the chat. Lewis is there. Good morning, Lewis. Hope you're well. Good morning from myself, obviously. Johnny Burton's in the house. So morning, guys. Morning, Johnny. Hope you're well. Ross Bedlock saying good morning, all. Good morning, Ross. Quanaman is in the house saying good morning, all. Morning, Quanaman. And that's all there is in the chat so far. 11 people watching. Please make sure you say hello. We don't bite, not on a Sunday. It's a day of rest. Give the Nashers a chance. So yeah, that's cool. So that we're up to date with the chat. So what do I need to go through? Obviously, over on the mess, our last group build is in full swing. A month has already gone past, can you believe? Almost, give or take a couple of days. So that is our Sea Warfare build. So if you're interested in getting involved in that, then please head over to the Facebook page, get yourself involved, follow the instructions. It's all in the announcements. I won't bore you with it. I know I've gone over it before. But also to remind you that we have our dioramas build, which has got a few more months to go. It's a year-long build. So please make sure you pop up your progress pictures of your build, and we can all dribble over that and get inspired. But please make sure that you're building along with that in time. The other thing in which I wanted to point out as well, I have put a post up this week about the Model of the Year award. Now, it's a new thing this year that we've done. There is a trophy, there are prizes, but one thing I want to make clear to you guys is if you want to get involved in that, there are two ways. The first way is by every last Tuesday of the month, we put up a post saying Best Build Tuesday. The idea being is you put up your build that you completed that month, the best build of the month if you've done more than one, or you can enter more than one. It's up to you. But you pop up your builds in there. Please make sure it's something in which you have made this year. Don't be sneaky and put something up you've already done. And obviously a few work in progress shots throughout the month or months, depending on where you are, where you build, is always a good thing, because then we can ascertain as to whether it's right or wrong. So that's one way which you can get involved. So basically out of that post, we would then generate our banner pictures for the month, of which I've been a little bit lax on, so I apologise. And those that are picked out by the admins are then put into the Model of the Year build. Now, the second way you can get involved is by making sure you post up your work on a regular basis. The reason being is the admins have been hot on it all year round, watching what everybody's been doing, and anything that has jumped out inspired them, or they see a work in progress, like, you know, what you were building at the beginning of the year and what you're now achieving. There's been a progress in your work. There's lots of different reasons for the admins choosing your work. But to do that, you need to post up your work in the Model Officer's Mess. So the admins will make a judgment at some point, a short list of all the people in which they feel have done something outstanding, or has impressed them, inspired them, etc., etc. And then that will go into a separate album, and then they will make a choice themselves only on that. The model of the year build will be Your way you're choosing, they think deserves that trophy. So yeah, you need to make sure you're getting involved. Obviously, you need to make sure you pop out your posts, your work in progress posts, and definitely 100% make sure you put your pictures in that post on the last Tuesday of the month. So this month will be the 27th of October, which is obviously in 2 days' time. Take some nice pictures, pop it up there, and then the admins will look through and make a decision. Now, I've got to be honest, the admins do a fantastic job, but obviously it's all free. They choose to do that. And I'm grateful for all their hard work, because they really choosing what they think is the qualifies for the banner that month. It gets harder and harder each time you post your work. So thank you for being involved. And it's just a way of us rewarding you, really. A post that will be going up next week as well, I think probably about Thursday. I'm going to ask your opinion. Last year, we did a calendar and a mug, which was to do with us. The calendar was pictures of works that you guys have put in. So we're just promoting the page, promoting your efforts. And we did, we made a little bit of profit on it, but all of the profit went to Models for Heroes. And we raised about £100 or so, I think it was. So what I'll be doing this year is I'll be asking you, first of all, is there an interest in that? And are you wanting to support that in some form? That way I can gauge, is it worth doing or not? I mean, any pennies that we provide to Models for Heroes is a bonus anyway. But obviously I don't want to be accused in a way of utilising the merchandising of the page to make a profit. I don't want to make anything out of it at all. So anything we make, we can obviously send off to a charity, and it's our little way of doing something at the end of the year. So that post will be going up about Thursday-ish. Please watch out for it, and please make sure if you're interested in anything, even got a suggestion or so, pop it up there. So the last thing I want to go over in relation to the Facebook page is obviously I put a post up last week asking you what you wanted to see on the morning parade. Fingers crossed, hoping that I wasn't getting set up with a paper battleship or something like that, Lewis, that I'm not going to do. Definitely not. And you guys said that you would want to see a diorama from start to finish. So that is what we're going to do. That's why we're starting all afresh. And we'll head over to the bench in a second and show you what the idea is and where we're going to. I'll be honest, I've been scratching my head all week. And it's literally in the last couple of hours that I've suddenly thought, oh, I could do that. So, yeah, it's been a bit of a brainstorm, really. Anyway, let's have a quick look to see if I've missed anyone in the chat. Ian Douthwaite's in the house. Say good morning, all. Morning, Ian. Hope you're well. Mark Ewan, morning, all. Can't stay long as trip to the dump. Oh, that's fine. Always available on catch up anyway, so it's not a problem. And you've got to do your chores. Remember, do your chores. Steve from Totally Scale Models is in the house, our science expert, science and space expert, who will be being put to the test next week, no doubt. I know, setting you up. Anyway, so yes. So without further ado, let's go over and I can explain to you the idea of what we're going to do. We will pop over to the Facebook page at some point and have a little quickie sneaky peeky. But I haven't got a specific post up for it. So we've gone background today. The green is just covered in oil paints and God knows what else. So I've gone blue. I'm not sure blue is the right colour. I don't think it's my friend. As Thomas would say to me, I turn after that. Oh, that makes a difference. There you go. Turn the little lights up. So yes, not quite as glary. So as you can see, I have some styrofoam. And this will be our base for what we're going to do. And I've just realised we have got Gary, who's joined us. Gary Morris. Morning, James. Morning, mate. Hope you're well. Thanks for joining us. And anyone else that hasn't said good morning, say good morning. So we've got a base. This is a little bit of a clue. What I've chosen to do it's something I started, but I didn't actually get around to finishing because I went up on a tangent. I know, unlike me, right? So this is going to be the kit that we're going to use in our diorama. This is a 148 US M4A3 medium tank. Nice little kit from Hobby Boss. Nice simple build, but of course I've made it a little bit more complicated. So that's that. We have started putting some bits and pieces together. As you can see here, we've got our turret, we've got our body, and we've got our base. Not gone too far with it. And there's the reason for that is I was getting a little bit carried away with the idea, and I was thinking about building interiors and all sorts of things, which I may still do. But if I'm honest, it depends on how I can get away with it, because it's very complicated, and I'm not sure I can do it. So anyway, so yeah, so we've got this bit's done. I'm going to leave the base there for a minute. Why would you want to build the interior, you say? I know that's what you're saying. The reason being is I have decided that this particular tank will be a wreck. This will be a casualty of the war, shall we speak. So what I'm going to do, obviously I've cut my base. And what I want to do is I want the placement of the said tank to be sort of like that. So first things first, let me find... there you go, nice pencil. So our tank is going to be around there. It's very rough. I just want a rough idea of where it's going to be. The reason being is this, as I said, it's going to be a disabled tank. This is going to be our road surface, and here is going to be a ditch. So we've got our ruler here. What I'm going to do is I just want to make a nice, clean, not too deep, but just a little. I want a little incision across there, like that. And the reason I've done that is that marks out where our road is going to be. Sorry, our road's going to be. I'm confused now. And where our tank is going to sit. So, as I said, I'm going to make a ditch. So what I want to do is I'm going to come across here, just at a slight angle like that, and make another incision, very lightly, just purely to mark our base. Okay, so can you see where I'm going with this now? Maybe you can. So we're going to put some hedging on this corner. I'm going to gouge out a little bit of this to make our what did I call it? A ditch. That was it. Can't remember. So what I'm going to do to do that is I'm going to use some carving tools. Now, be careful with these, because obviously, if I do that, you'll see it just pulls out a whole load of stuff, and it's not very nice, is it? But what we're going to do is I'm just going to use this around the outer part of our ditch, just as a rough guide. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to get a knife in a minute and cut it out, because obviously this isn't going to give me the surface I want. Move that out, wait, I'm covered in stuff doing. So I'm going to use a little scalpel, and all I'm going to do is I'm just going to cut nicks out. So now what I would suggest to you is that if you're using a knife, obviously the sharper it is, the better effect, better you've got to be able to cut things. Obviously safety is very, very important. So if you have a craft knife that is cutting these sort of things out, that's better. Obviously you could use a hot wire or something to that effect. Which cut, but getting a ditch in that is a little bit more of an effort involved. So I'm literally just going to pick out some of this. A little bit too careful, aren't we? Now you can get some very good tools for using with styrofoam. There is obviously the hot wire that is literally a piece of wire between two prongs, but there is also, I haven't got it, but there is also the it's like a point, if you like. It literally is like that, and you just cut what you want. That would be a great tool to use for this, but I don't have one, so I can't use that, unfortunately. So obviously what we've done is we've used our knife to cut around roughly where we want it, and then I'm literally just going to scrape this to the level I want. Now don't worry too much about if you take a little bit too much off. I mean, obviously if you take a great big chunk out of where you're going to have a flat surface, that would be a bit of a boo-boo. But the actual bit in here, which you're going to want rough anyway, doesn't really matter too much how rough it is, because we are going to go over it with some other product at a later stage. So it doesn't have to be too smooth. Now I don't want to go super deep, but I want it. Oh, I knew that was going to happen. It was the one thing I was trying to avoid. Did very well there, did I? Never mind. So I've just taken a bit off the edge here because I didn't cut properly. So if for example you were going to use this piece of stereo as your base and put a little bit of balsa wood around it, then you'd have to fill in that little bit. Like I say, take your time, plan it out. Unlike me, where I didn't plan it out, I'm just sort of winging it a little bit. Oh. Got any questions about what I'm doing, or anything that relevant to building a diorama and you think I may know the answer, pop it in the chat. I don't know everything without a doubt, but between us we can work it out. Not a big deal. So yeah, we're just pulling this out a bit more. I'm being quite rough because I'm not that bothered, because like I say, I'm going to go over this with something in a minute. What you want to do is just run your fingers down inside, make sure you've got all your bits and pieces off. And what we'll do is tie this up quickly. Bear with me. Bear with me. Now, one thing I would say, if you do use styrofoam, and yeah, I've got the space for it, a really good thing to do would be to store any of your offcuts. They're always good to help build up bases, etc. Rubble, if you're going to make a bombed out building, they're great to put on your base, and then obviously some bricks over the top to make the rubble look like rubble. But it means you don't have to have hundreds and hundreds of bricks. You can get away with the perception that bricks are there. So that's good. Right, so let's get our tank back. And what we want to do is we're going to, and it's going to be our placement roughly of our said tank. I want to take a little bit more out of this side, just because I know that when I get to the next stage, I'm going to use a product that's going to go on top of it, so it's going to, that's not going to help me too much. So as a bit of advice, I would always say is draw out your idea, draw out, give yourself a plan, give yourself half a chance, and it makes it a lot simpler when you come to actually making your diorama. I haven't done that because I'm winging it as usual. So there we go. So we can either have it so it's in the ditch completely on one side, or as I'm going to have it so it's rolled off the road to find its final resting place. And then the plan will be to have the turret in some description on its side or something like that next to it. I may have it hanging off. I don't know. I haven't quite made my mind up on that yet, but yeah, that's the idea. Hence why I might have to do a little bit of improvisation inside here and inside the turret. So there you go. Have a quick look in the chat to see where we're at. Nim's with us. Hi, Nim. Nice to see you there. Thank you so much, by the way, for the message yesterday saying that you were busy last night and couldn't be with us in the creche. No need to do that, but it was very nice you did, and it made me feel quite warm inside this morning. And she's just cooking some home fries for breakfast. Yummy, yummy. Send some our way. We like that. So there we go. That is our basic base, our road surface and ditch. Now I'm going to use a product which I've not used before. He says he might do. I don't know. Let's have a look because I haven't looked inside it yet. Am I going to use that? Do you know what? I don't think I will. I know what I'll do. Right. Bear with me. Bear with. Where's that gone? Uh-oh. There it is. Right area, wrong box. Make sure this is okay. Yeah, it's good. Right. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to use a little bit of Das clay, actually. I was going to use some Mod Podge because I've not used it before and I wanted to give it a play. But I'm going to use that on top of the Das clay at some point because I want to form on some form. I've got stuff to form. So yeah, this is open. I've used a little bit already. To keep it nice and fresh, what I would do is put it in a plastic container, airtight plastic container, and that way it won't dry. It won't last forever, but it won't dry so quickly. Right, before I do that, let me grab. Ooh, didn't sound good, did it? That's all right. It's just my bits there. So I'm going to use this because I don't want to get the blue paper too dirty. And all I'm going to do is I'm just going to literally push the clay onto the styrofoam. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to, with the tools that I've got next to me, I'm going to muck around with it if I want it to get it a little bit a different surface texture on there. Because I don't want it too smooth, because what was the point of making it all rough underneath, right? So I'm going to say just getting a nice light coat of our Das clay. A great product. I'm sure there's other clays and other products out there with different names, but this is the one that I use and I buy. So obviously the other thing in which you're probably going to realise this, as I have, is that once I put this clay on, I'm going to have to let it dry. So there's not going to be an awful lot more we can do. Or is there? We'll see. So yeah, we're just moving that on. worry too much where we get it, as long as we get it where we need it, obviously. Like so. More in our packet. Bear with me. We've got a Facebook user there saying, good morning, James. Not been great the last week. Couple of days. Oh, sorry. Dirty fingers. Not been great the last couple of days because of health conditions, but hope to get some bench time today or as soon as possible, mate. I'm not 100% sure who that is. I think that might be Ron. Let me just refresh that page and I can find out. Yeah, if you're on Facebook, just do me a big favor and allow notifications to be shared. Yeah, it's Ron Hetman. Good guess. Yeah, because then I can see your name. That's all it is. Just saves me looking at a different screen. But I hope you feel better soon, Ron. Sorry to hear your health is giving you problems. I'm just going to go back to the clay because I want to seal this all in. Now, with clay, a wet digit will help you. When it comes to pushing it into its place and molding it, etc. Which I haven't got any water next to me, which I should have done, but never mind. So yeah, if you get something like an old water said bottle, and a bit of water like that, and all you just literally just dip your digit in so it's nice and moist, and then you can go over the surface and bring it up. Helps you mold everything into the nooks and crannies, etc. Can see that tub of water going over, can't you? All right, come on, dear. Put water on the table, James. So there you go. Nearly done. There's a little bit of extra there on our end, which is a real shame that I managed to knock that square bit off. That's all right. We'll get around that. It was done on purpose, really. Wet digit, smoothie, like so. Now, tip for you. Not going to use it on this particular build, but if you're using dust clay and you're doing any sort of vehicles or even people to a point, depending on what the finished outcome will be, whether it be muddy or a winter scene or whatever. A good little tip, remember, is that when you've got the clay wet, you can, for example, with some tracks or wheels or footprints, do it while the clay's wet, and you can build that into your paintwork when you do the base, etc. So there we go. So I'm just going to wet my digit and go over this bit. Paper towel. All I'm doing is I'm just trying to make the surface as smooth as possible, because that's going to be our road surface, remember. Like so. Last little bit. So I'm going to put a little extra Now made it wet. Is it? Rat bags. Just want to make that uneven so it's not a flat surface, because we're going to build a hedge on that at some point. Let me get water because I don't want that tipping over. Right. The lovely Connor is in with Lewis watching the show. Thank you, Connor. Hope you're well. If you don't know already, on the Saturday Night Creche, Connor is and Paige is our voice of our competition that we do, or I've been doing for the last couple of weeks, in relation to guess that thing, guess that box art, guess that kit, blah blah blah, whatever we choose to call it at the time. So thank you, Connor, for all your hard work. I appreciate it. I know that I've set you other challenges that Mummy and Daddy are going to sort out with you at a later stage, but there is no rush for that, so don't panic. I promise that I'll get you involved in the chat in some way, and I think that's the best way we can do it at the moment. So that's clay that I've used. I don't need any more of that, so that goes into a sealed container, like so. And obviously I'm just going to quickly wash my hands digit by digit. I don't want to get that everywhere, do we? There we go. Oh, throw that on the floor. So yeah, welcome, Connor. I'm sure Paige is there as well. Ron's just saying Das Clay is a great product, and he uses it most of the time. Yeah, it is a great product, especially when you're talking about bases, etc. So I'll let that settle for a second while I go through the chat, and we'll do a little bit of manipulation with that. Lewis just saying you could do the square off on the edge there with a bit of clay. Yeah, I could do, but I'm not going to. The reason being is that if I'm honest, I generally will try my best to incorporate any mistakes that I can in my builds. So while I've been busy yapping away, I've suddenly thought of something I can do there. So that's good. So we'll utilise that. Malcolm's in the house, and hi folks. Hi Malcolm. Hope you're well. Gary Morris saying, where did you get the base from? Okay, so the base I've made, this is Stereofoam. The Stereofoam I bought from a company called 4D Models, which is based in London. But you can get that at any good stockist from anywhere in the world. I believe it comes in the States. They call it it's insulation or something, I believe. I'm not 100% sure. But in the UK, Stereofoam, pop it in a Google search, and there are loads of companies out there that stock it. If you get stuck and you want a definite place to get it, it would be 4D Models. But as I say, they are based in the centre of London. Great little model shop, which are actually more to do with architectural models. But they got some great stuff in that shop. I'll always spend a fortune when I'm there. Connor Man saying, hi, Captain Connor. Indeed. And Connor is saying, hi to Malcolm. Malcolm was just saying that was from Connor. Sorry, what am I talking about? Yes, you know what I mean. Anyway, there you go. Mark's back from the dump already. Wow, that was a quick turnaround. Well done, you. So yeah, a lot of the bases, I generally will make my own bases. You can buy lots of different products. You could get this sort of base in a plaster of Paris sort of form, but I generally try to make my own. Not because of anything other than the fact that I like that part of the process. So yeah, and if there are any parts of any of the builds and bits and pieces that I feature, or get parts or sparks your imagination, ask the question, and we can always point you in the direction of where we got our stuff, and that might help you. Cool. So that's that. So what I wanted to do was I'm going to use this bit here. Put down glasses, water. These are clay sculpting tools. And all I'm going to do literally is I just want to flatten off any of the rough edges. I've dipped in a bit of water, so anywhere where my finger hasn't managed to make a connection properly between the different levels or layers of clay, I'm just going to go back in with this and smooth it out a little bit more. Obviously, some of the texture I want is a bit lumpy bumpy, so you can achieve that too by pushing it in and manipulating the clay, obviously. Good thing with my tools is there are lots of different shapes, lots of different ways in which you can do it. And all I'm really trying to do is I don't want to lose too much of the texture I've made with my fingers, but where I've added different different bits of clay, like this bit, there's a little bit of clay that was on the side. I've thrown it in the middle. Obviously, I want to push that into the clay that's already there, so we don't have a piece, a separate piece. I'm just going to have a bit of old clay, a little bit of rummage, and you can get as bold as you like with this, because what we'll do is we'll spray this up. This clay will take a few hours to dry. I generally will probably leave it 24 hours, and then you can come at it with a primer, etc, etc. So yeah, that's what I'm going to do here. And what we're going to do is I'm going to put a little bit of the end result wise, I'm going to put a little bit of water in this ditch. Yeah, a little bit. One of the effects I'll do is just a little bit of water just on the top. Not going to be a lot. It is a drainage ditch after all, so obviously after I finish doing this, I'm not going to stick the model that I'm doing in there, because I don't need to. Make sure we get these edges nice and tight up. I've not put any glue or anything on the styrofoam to hold the clay. It should dry nicely and form nicely into the styrofoam, so you shouldn't have any issues there. So don't worry about that too much, as long as you've gone around these edges like so, because I've got a little bit of clay there, too much clay, so we just scrape it off because that's a road surface, remember, and we'll put that in there like that. Again, we'll come along here and just take that off, and we'll add that into our ditch. A little bit of water and it just all melts away. Right, so run ourselves along the edge here, make sure it's all nice and flat. Now I'm not too worried on the road surface. If there's a little bit of clay, that's not a problem, because when you come to paint it, obviously the road surface may have a little bit of dirt or stuff on it. Detritus, is it they call it? That's a polite way of calling it, isn't it? So don't worry about that too much. Oh, there we go. Oh, I left that on there. Didn't mean to leave that on there. been so slow. Why? It seems to not want to obey its commands. There you go, finally. I don't know why, just this being temperamental as usual. So I've got all these tools. I don't need all of them, obviously, but we have them there anyway. Obviously, one of the other tools in which you could use is one of these. It's a spatula for oil paints, but it gives you the ability to push clay into, for example, into this. So you could have just done that, and it gives you a surface, nice surface. I use these generally. So there you go. That's our base done so far. Now, what we're going to do is, okay, so while we've got that there, what I'm going to do is I'm going to find, totally prepared for this, obviously. No. We could do a little wooden fence here, couldn't we? So now might be the time to do that. Let me get the right piece of wood from the other side of the room. We're not going to need very much of it, are we? So, right, so we've got a little bit of balsa wood. Oh, got some wood here as well. Don't need any of that. I can't believe I tidied this room up today, would you really? Ow. Just be aware when you're using a cutter for your wood, or chopper in this case, the razor blade is up sharp and does cut and hurt. A little bit longer, I think. There. After all, I don't need it that long. Let me get 2, 3. Down. So we'll push our fence post in there, like so. That's our first fence post. Funny, the razor blade I'm using, very sharp, cuts me but doesn't cut wood. Obviously need to change that around. Okay. There you go. So that will go nicely. He says it will go nicely. It will go nicely. Like so. So yeah, so the reason I'm doing this now is because we can use the clay to hold the fence posts up, can't we? So again, using our equipment, we can push the clay around our post, like so. To help hold it in place. I've not used any glue, I've just stuck it in into the styrofoam, through clay into the styrofoam. And hopefully it won't come back and bite me on the bum. like so. Now, what you could do in this scenario is you could now string a little bit of wire between them as like a barbed wirey fence, which would probably be the better idea. However, what I've not done, because I'm on the hoof and not thinking about it, if you're going to use wire, what I would do is I would drill with a very fine drill holes for your wire to go through and feed it through. So you've got your wire either end, and you just cut off the excess part of the wire, so you know the bit you don't need. But I'm not going to use wire because my plan was all along was to use some more balsa wood to make a fence up. He says, now do I go along that like that? Get a bigger bit, actually, that might help me. That would help you, James. Always use your scrappy bits up first. So I want to cut it fairly straight, but I'm not that worried just how straight it is. The reason being is I'm going to rough the edges up anyway, so that doesn't matter too much. Nim was just saying there that, and now that I'm done cooking, time to put you on the big telly. Oh my goodness. Well, I'll try not to show my face. I wouldn't want to scare you. It scares me. Right, so we need a little bit. Where did I put that? I love being organised. So one good thing about having lots of drawer space and stuff in certain drawers is that when you're on the hoof, so to speak, as long as you remember what drawers you put it in, it's not so much of a problem. So anyway, I've cut this. It's fairly straight, but I want to take a few notches out, and I'm literally just going to use my scalpel to put a little bit of damage on our fence, little chips here and there. I don't want it to look too straight. I want it looking tired. Been a fence for a long time. Move it along, take a little bit out of the top here and there, nothing too much. Scrape along. Scrape along. Like so. Like that. A little bit more. Right. A bit of balsa wood glue. See where I find out it's dried and isn't any good anymore. Or there you go. I just had that sinking feeling for a moment, you know. So what we do is just going to put our bit of wood on our posts. like so. Hopefully, we'll stick together. There we go, that's one. Now, can I get two out of this? Hopefully. Yeah, lovely. Lovely. So this is another reason why I save all the offcuts of anything I do. I'm lucky I've got plenty of room in here. It's because these are the sort of things you can manufacture really quickly with offcuts. And they're dead simple to make as well. If you want a round post, you can use a cocktail stick. Or another good thing to do is to use your sprue. The sprue that you have left over from kits and stuff. You can make your aerials, you can make fence posts, you can make all sorts of things. Always keep some of it. I mean, don't keep all of it because, God blimey, you'd end up with a room full of just sprue, wouldn't you? No, I would. So I've got about 2 boxes of sprue. And remember, something in which I wasn't completely aware of at the time, but I've discovered since that different company sprues behave in different ways. So, you know, some of them make really good aerials, some of them don't. So there we go, making our fence panels. I knew that was going. Rat bag. It's all right. Put one more on this. Now, what you did notice probably was that I put a bit of glue on. I got a little bit too much on there, and I use a cocktail stick to transfer some of it over to the other post rather than waste it. And I've forgotten to do the roughy bit, haven't I? Super quick, super quick. I mean, you can obviously stick this all together and then rough it up in place, but it's better if you do the roughing up bit before you put the glue on, James. Right. Give me yourself much. Under wood. How are you, rat bag? So what have you got on the bench right now? Have we got some modelling products going on? Have you got your work cut out for you today, or are you going to have a lazy Sunday? What's going to be your... How's your Sunday going to look? Let me know in the chat. I'm going to have a day of trying my best to get some brownie points. Not that I really need them, but I feel a bit guilty. You know what us men are like when they're guilty? We go and do something to show that we're not that bad a person, really. Yeah, just sort of make the wife a little happy for once. Make a change, isn't it? Right. So, what have we managed to achieve so far? So we've got our ditch all in place. We've scratch built very quickly a little fence, which will set nicely inside of the clay. And then what I want to do now is I want to build a little bit of the basis of a hedge in the back here. So how am I going to achieve that? Let me just clear down a little bit first. Any questions or anything from you guys, please post them up. Let me know. And as soon as I look up, I'll be able to answer them. So just clean myself down like so. And there we are. So that's where we're at. So we want to do some hedging, don't we? Okay. What we're going to use? What you're going to use? Not that, and not that. And of course, I'm so organised; it's all there at hand. I do apologise. I know where it is. It's exactly where I don't want it to be, which is right under there, isn't it? Silly Billy. So, I knew there was something I needed to get out from under here. Bear with me. Talk amongst yourselves. Not that. Next one down. Right, okay, so to form our bush, I like to use some of this stuff. What this is curly moss. You can buy it in Hobbycraft. You can buy it in anywhere that does flower arranging or something to the effect. Sorry for the noise. But there you go. That's what the product looks like. And all I'm going to do is I'm literally just going to tease out some bits and pieces. So obviously we're going to make a hedge. So we want the hedge to look like it's alive, like it's a flower. So why wouldn't you use something that is exactly what it is to start with? So as you can see, it's got some quite big twigs, branches, some curly moss. So let's stick a bit of that curly moss to start with right at the back here. And again, I'm going to stick it straight into our clay. Like so. And the next bit. Now, this is where it gets all exciting. Some Wally stuck all this stuff on there. Tease it through said fence. And what we will do is we'll use some tweezers. Now, obviously, the colour of our curly moss is the colour we want it to be, isn't it? However, the thing is, we're going to have to paint the fence anyway, so we can get away with not worrying too much about the fact that we may lose a little bit of the natural colour, if you like. These are actually dyed anyway, I think you'll find, the ones I've got here. So we're going to prime it, and we're going to be painting the wooden fence anyway, so we're not losing anything by doing that this way. You can stick it in later on, maybe when, once you've got the clay primed and coloured the way you want it to be coloured, etc. would work better for you. Maybe it wouldn't. I don't know. So we're going to force that back down on itself. Hopefully that will work. It does. There we go. And part of the joy of this is you're literally just going to look through the bits you pull out to see what's going to work best for you. Now, before I found curly moss, I would use wire. I'd use all sorts of things to get this how I want it. But curly moss is just such a friendly product to use for this sort of thing. So I highly recommend it. Even if you see it, buy it, and don't use it for ages, it's worth getting it in your toolbox, because there'll come a time where you go, oh, that'll just be exactly what I want. In winter, I'd just leave it like it is. If it's spring, then you just can add some foliage to that really, really easily. And what we'll do is we're going to put this in there as well. This is just a twig. And I think we're fairly where we want to be with that. Might just stick one more in, I think. What are we going to pop in? That one. That one does it. That one's a winner. There we go. Now I've noticed, or you may have noticed, we're a little bit out of kilter in that I'll just put a twig in. I've just twigged put a twig in there, which is going to form a tree to a point. This bit here is going to be sort of like a young tree, if you like. So what we can do is, by using that twig, that gives us our basis, our starting point for our tree. Bags. Sorry while I'm concentrating. I can't talk and concentrate at the same time. I am a man, allegedly. Oh, come on. I'm so close to where I want you to be as well. It's a bit of fingers and thumbs, this job, but as I said, it's worth taking the time and trouble. It really is. Ooh. Fiddlesticks. Right, let's go a different route, shall we? Yeah, so what I'm going to do in this scenario is I don't want to make it a winter scene, which I don't think so anyway at this stage. So what I would do for foliage is what I would mask up the areas that I don't want covered in foliage, and then I would spray a bit of glue onto our moss, and then sprinkle on either leaves. You can make leaves with a leaf punch or a lot of time and patience. Or you could or you could use flocking, which is what I'm going to use when we get to that point. And now I just realise that this, why it was giving me so much trouble, is because it has moved. Placement has moved. Where is that? Right. Okay. There we go. If I move this out of the way, maybe that will be a bit clearer. You can see that clearer. There we go. That completely. So there you go. We've got the start form of our hedge just there. Our fence. Our ditch. And our roadway. As you can see, the clay is starting to dry already. It's quite a thin layer on there anyway, so it shouldn't take too long to dry. But yeah, that's where we're up to so far. And then obviously our tank will go something like that. So that's where we are. Right, let me just have a little tidy up and I can catch up with the chat. So where are we with the chat? Let's see what you guys are up to. There you go. Lucy's just saying he's having his roast pork right now. Nice. I'm sure Nat has made a cracking job of it. I know you were singing her praises the other day, what a wonderful cook she was, and how proud you are of her, and how you're grateful for putting up with her putting up with you. Sorry, or was it the other way around? Do you know? I can't remember now. Anyway, as it should be as well, Les. Worked very hard in that kitchen for you. Gary Morris is saying he's working on his Revell 172nd Fairly Gannet T5 on the bench. Nice. Ross has got his Warhammer Venom Crawler. Is that? Oh, he's testing me now. Cool. Nim said, well, I work tonight, but I'm playing a makeup D&D session and probably work on the replacement superstructure for my main tune hood. But other than that, potatoes. Everyone's favourite dish. Man saying I'm doing a bit of a tidy up on the main bench today. Yeah, I did that this morning. I had a right old good clean up in here. Caught up with the mail and all that sort of stuff that I tend to ignore, which I shouldn't. Yeah, like I say, I was going to do a little route around and show you the ops room, but I think I might film that and show it later. Lewis just saying there, do you need to trim your bush? No, my bush is meant to be wild. I'm into wild bushes, Lewis, but thank you for checking. Nat has done a wonderful job, and you're right with all you say. I'm so lucky to have her and so wanting a 3D printer. A lovely couple, both of them, and great kids as well. Anyway, so enough of all that. What can I do next, I wonder? Yeah, I'm sort of tidying up as I'm talking to you, because I'm thinking to myself, oh, I could go round, but I really don't think it's a good idea today. Anyway, good grief, I just noticed the time is marching on. So there you go. So yeah, I'm going to leave the diorama as is, and we'll come back to that next week. And what I'll do next week is I'll show you, I'll prime everything, and we'll paint it, and we'll add some flock and all that sort of exciting stuff. So that is the diorama for now. Change camera. Like you need to see my ugly mug, but there you go. There I am. So coming up, obviously, is Festa at 12:30. Won't be stepping on his toes. That's actually handy. That's finished at just the right moment. So for something that wasn't planned, that's not too bad, is it? I hope that it's been some sort of entertainment for you. 18 people watching, and you've been watching me for an hour and 20 minutes or thereabouts. So thank you very much for being with me. I'm sure I'm just in the background while you're doing other stuff, which is fine. I want to remind you guys that coming up on the ISM channel is the Models for Heroes charity auction on the 30th of October at 7 o'clock. So it's the International Scale Modelers YouTube channel, ISM, run by Paul. And the gang, obviously, the crew will be at the bench, and they've got something in the region of 100 lots or thereabouts. 100 odd kits to auction off. About 50 or so lots, although that is potentially changing as things move along. So get over there nice and early. They got some really great kits. Talking to Malcolm yesterday in the Creche. If you didn't see it, obviously you can look on this channel and you'll see last night's episode. But he was saying that they've got, for example, the USS Missouri in 1/200 scale, I think it was. They've got some rally model cars that are signed by the actual drivers, which are like, hen's teeth. So, really worth having a quick look at, and digging deep in your pockets to try and support this great charity of Malcolm's Models for Heroes. So please tune in for that. That'll be a week away now, less than a week away. this Friday coming on the 30th. Please go over and give them support. They do it once or twice a year. I think it's only one this year so far because of everything that's been going on. And then you normally raise it a good couple of £1,000. Let's try and break some records this year. Let's try and get over the 3. Maybe go for 4. Who knows? You'd be amazed of how far that money's stretched and how much everybody appreciates. Anyway, so that's that. We'll be back next Sunday. We'll carry on with our diorama. I'm quite happy with that. I've got a little project specifically for this, and I think that's what was sort of draining my mojo a little bit with the Corvette, is because obviously trying to do it with the camera setup that I've got isn't great. I just want to make sure what I do is something that you enjoy. So thank you again for your feedback. Make sure you get involved with any votes, etc. Go over to the Facebook page, get involved on the page. And just before we go, let's have a quick look. We've got Ron. Ron saying I'm going to be trying to do some more of the HMS Belfast if my health allows me to, mate. Yeah, good for you. And oh yes, Lewis has just reminded me the USS Missouri has the full detail set, and it is in 1/200th scale. And I promise you, the box for just the detail set is enormous. So yeah, don't miss out on that. It's a brilliant deal. I'm sorry, Lewis, I know you want it, but I am pushing for the maximum amount for the charity for them. And I'll be totally honest with you, if the wife's at work, there's every chance I will be putting bids in for that, because I am very, very impressed. Although when I got it, I won't know what to do with it. But anyway, so there you go. So please stay tuned on YouTube for Festa. Will be coming up very shortly. I'm going to call it quits now. Thank you for everyone that's been with me this evening, or this afternoon today. Enjoy your Sunday. Make sure you spend some time with the loved ones and stay safe. Until next week.